Hi, many of you have been asking me to comment what is my feeling on the potential of Britain exiting the EU, so-called Brexit. There's a vote coming up on that in June, I believe. And my answer, and I think your questions are really sort of focused on what does it portend, what does it mean potentially for the British pound? And my answer is not much, at least as far as from what I can see. And that's because I don't expect monetary and fiscal policy to change very much in Britain if they do exit the EU. It's funny because Britain has its own currency, and it definitely has the ability to engage in fiscal stimulus. However, it has taken more or less an austerity line trying to reduce budget deficits. It's running a small budget deficit. It wants to try to make that into a balanced budget or maybe even a surplus. So that is supportive of the pound. And as far as monetary policy, low interest rates, the Bank of England hasn't been in any rush to hike interest rates, which would be negative for the pound. So I would say low interest rates are supportive. However, Britain does run a current account deficit, so that's somewhat negative for the pound. I would say that the pound in with Brexit, if that comes to pass, would be somewhat negative for the British pound against the euro. I would say against the dollar, it basically trade the way it has been trading. I think if you got a sell off, a sharp sell off in the pound on Brexit, um, at least against the US dollar, I think you would have to buy that. Possibly see a sharp sell off against the euro. Um, I'd rather buy it against the dollar. Against the euro, I would suspect that it's going to remain a little bit on the weaker side. Okay, so that's basically, I don't think there's going to be much, in terms of fundamental changes. I think you get a lot of bouncing around and volatility from Brexit if it happens and leading up to it, but I don't see any major policy changes as a result. So I think the pound continues to trade the way it's been trading. And that's probably up against the dollar. It's probably weakish against the euro, but we'll see.